Hello everyone, I'm hanging out on the Star Wars The Old Republic public test server, and I wanted to show you guys how the new combat styles, abilities, and loadout systems are looking. Unfortunately, the expansion was delayed until February 15th, 2022, but we are getting to see some of these systems actually showing up and be testable on the test server. It was clear they were not quite finished and not going to be ready for the expansion original launch date. Good news is we are getting to test them now, and I'll show you what they look like. So I'm hanging out on the character creator screen right now. As you can see on the character creator, I can actually choose a combat style right away, a single one. So for those of you who are already playing the game, a combat style is an advanced class. So right now I'm in the middle of creating a Sith Inquisitor. That used to be called my class. Now that's going to be called my origin story. And I'm able to choose right away from my combat styles of Assassin, Sorcerer, Marauder, and Juggernaut. In the past, I could only choose between Assassin and Sorcerer for the Sith Inquisitor, but those options have opened up. Because I'm on the test server, I don't have a lot of combat styles available when it comes to light side or opposite alignment stuff. So I cannot create right now a Sith Inquisitor, Sentinel, Guardian, Shadow, or Sage. However, if I did have the Light 5 unlock, I should be able to, like right down here, create one right away from the get-go. And if I want to instead create an Imperial agent, where's my operative? Here we go. Create an Imperial agent. I can do that right away. Just like before, I could create a sniper or an operative, but I actually have the option to choose from any of the 8 combat styles that are related to tech users. So as an Imperial agent, I can be sniper, operative, mercenary, power tech, gunslinger, scoundrel, commando, or vanguard. Whatever I want, pretty much. So let's go actually create this character. She's looking pretty good. Let's name her Tomato because all the names I was trying to use earlier were taken. We're in. So I'm going to be showing you what this looks like for a level 1 character, as well as we're going to boost this character up to level 80 so you can kind of see how that looks and feels. Yes, we are going to enjoy this black screen together. There we go. So I'm going to run outside so we can have a beautiful background, especially as that's where we will boost our character up on the test server. If you want to learn more about how to test on the test server, I've got a couple other videos, including how to download and install the PTS, the public test server. So here's our level 1 character, Tomato, the Imperial Agent Sniper, and I can open the new character sheet. And this new character sheet is looking way better than the last time we saw it on the public test server. I don't know if this is the final version, but it is looking a lot more polished than it did before. You can see I've got my inventory right away here. And if I had equipment, I could easily add it to my equipment set right here without having to open up my inventory separately. You can see my character alignment here. You can see my stats here, and if I click details, this is like a summary. And this is the full details about my stats. As you can see, I barely have any armor on, so I really don't got a lot going on in the way of stats right now. And if you're missing it, you can still change your title and legacy title and character flair with this tiny button right here. Next up is the combat style tab. You'll notice that your character sheet is now kind of this giant combined sheet with tabs at the top, and this is pretty great. This should help players find these different sections a lot easier than they could on the current server. The combat styles tab is also looking really good. So you can see I'm on my level 1 character. I obviously don't have a second combat style available. You know, nobody's going to have one as soon as they create their character. I can, however, switch right away from my 3 different disciplines. So as a sniper, I automatically can switch between marksmanship, engineering, and virulence. Easy peasy. There doesn't seem to be any type of... Oh, so since I'm a level 1 character, you need to be in a sanctuary, in a cantina, or have access to the field or specialization legacy perk to swap disciplines. So it does look like it's going to be a lot easier to swap. So for those of you on the current live server, you may have the legacy unlock that already allows you to swap on the fly. But for players who don't have that, especially like newer players, you have to go talk to a NPC. I forget his name. He's a Duros character, and they're on the fleet, and you talk to them to switch between these. It looks like it'll be a lot easier now to switch between your three. All right, now I've switched over to a different character that I have boosted up to level 80 using the public test server functions, and they have theoretically completed their class story, so they have earned access to a second combat style. So I think on my first character I'd chosen Sniper as my first combat style. On this character I've chosen Operative, and because I have 1, finished my chapter 3, and 2, subscribed to the game, I have the option to pick a second combat style, and I decided to choose Power Tech. You go through a little cutscene to do this that I won't show you today because I'm having issues replaying it. That's okay. I can very easily, I'm currently an Operative, and I can very easily switch to Power Tech just by clicking it. Ta-da! There's a bit of a cooldown. As you can see, it kind of grayed out for a second, and now I can swap back to Operative. And now that I'm on an Operative, on a high-level character who has pretty much everything they need, they can switch between these disciplines very easily. So I'm currently on Lethality. I can easily switch to Concealment. There's a bit of a cooldown. And I can now switch to Medicine as well. And you can see my tree on the right changes as I change discipline. So I'm going to hop over to Concealment. This tree is looking very, very, very nice compared to the last time we looked at it. It's very clear what you can click, what you cannot click, and everything's perfectly lined up. As you can see, I can make decisions at level... Oh, here we go. It's flipped. At level 23, I have the option to choose between... Oh no, I just get these? Here we go. At level 27, I have the option to change between these 3 passive abilities. At level 35, I can choose between these 3 passive abilities. That little sound you're hearing in the background is me actually switching. And you can see the one that I've chosen is highlighted here. And I'll be able to make those choices for any of these 3 disciplines and change between them pretty freely. If I am currently subscribed, I'll be able to switch between Operative and Power Tech pretty easily, it looks like. And they did say if you decide to go preferred after you're subscribed, you'll keep whichever of these 2 that you already chose in the past. Like whichever one was active the last time you were subscribed and logged in, that's the one you'll stick with until you resubscribe. So let's say I am going to take a break from the game, going to take a break from subscribing. I chose Power Tech last. If I log back in later and I am preferred, I'll be stuck with Power Tech temporarily until the next time I subscribe, and then I'll be able to switch back and forth between them again. So the next thing I want to show you was Loadouts. And Loadouts allow you to make decisions in your tree, as well as other decisions, and swap easily between them. So let's say I've chosen, I mainly want to play Power Tech Tank. And on my Operative, I want to mainly play Operative Medicine. So I can switch between healing and tanking while I'm playing with my friends. Or maybe I just want to switch between my 2 damage styles. Whatever it is that you want to do. I can save these options in Loadouts. So I'm going to make a new loadout, and right now on the test server you got a total of 10, which is quite a few, which is more than they originally were saying you were going to get. So I'm very excited about that. So I'm going to create a new loadout, and I'm going to call it Medicine. Sweet. And so in this loadout, I can now go and make choices in my tree, and they will be saved. So right now I'm going to choose as many purple ones as I can so you guys can visually see what that looks like. It's not purple, this is purplish, right? This is purplish. Sure. So you can visually see which options I've chosen when I go to the loadout screen. Now I'm going to create a second loadout for tanking. I can call these whatever I want. I can call them potato if I want. So I'll switch over to Power Tech. I'll switch over to Shield Tech. And I can choose whatever I need here. Those are like the preferred things that I want. So now when I go into loadouts, I can see I've got one for tanking and one for medicine, and I can look at them without switching. And then I can also easily switch between them, and all of those options that I chose will be saved. The combat style that I chose will be saved. The discipline that I chose will be saved. And those are very, very much working right now on the test server. And you can see it change your actual abilities bar down here as you switch between them. Now, some other stuff that I couldn't quite get entirely working was the abilities saved on their locations on the bar. So I'm going to show you something pretty cool that is already functioning. So I'm going to put on my power tech, I'm going to put electro dart here and here and here and here, so you guys can see it very clearly that it's saved there. And that's the stupid combination that I put, and that's how I want it to stay when I switch between my operative and my power tech. So I'm going to switch over to my operative, my healer. So I've got all my healing stuff on here, and then I'm going to switch back to my tanking spec, my tanking loadout, and look, these all stayed here. Like, it's saved where they were. One thing I couldn't get working, however, was when I was trying to switch between two different disciplines. For example, I wanted to do, I really like both concealment and lethality for the operative, and I want to be able to easily switch between them while saving the locations on my bar. That's currently not working. I'm hoping that's something that will be working on in the future. Another thing that's very interesting and doesn't seem to be saved that I'm wondering if it might in the future is the interface editor. So let's say you made one of these layouts, one for your healer and one for your tank, you know, because your healer, you want your friends to be more visible so you can more easily heal them. That doesn't get saved as part of loadouts right now, but you can of course easily switch between them right here. And also, if you have different key binding layouts presets, those are not currently attached to loadouts. Maybe they will be in the future, but of course you can just save them and swap between them right here. It'll be 3 clicks versus like the 40 bajillion you used to have to do when switching specs. Another very interesting thing is equipment, and this is probably the one that's the hardest for me to deal with when switching between specs on a character. Very, very interesting. If you have the equipment in your inventory, you can save it to your loadout. So you can actually see the armor here. I've got this loadout that I set up earlier where I have this armor, and this loadout that has this armor. Oh, give me a second here. There we go. And my character actually properly changed between those two sets because I had them in my inventory. I was kind of hoping there would be a separate place to store your gear, but that's not the case. Another interesting thing that another player found is that if you have the gear you want to swap to in your legacy bank, or I think personal bank, it did seem to mostly work for swapping between them, so that was pretty cool. I had trouble trying to get that one to work, but it seems like it's something BioWare is working on, and if that's the case, I think that's a great option to just be able to store it in your legacy bank, and then you can more easily swap between it that way without having to carry it around in your bags. So I hope all of that kind of shows you how you can easily swap between your chosen combat styles. And if you want to learn more about, like, how do I know which of these I'll have available for my characters, especially for my Jedi and my Sith, I have a separate video called SWTOR 7.0 Combat Styles Alignment that will explain everything for you. This is more like the practical, how does this look like on the test server right now? Once again, this is all in flux. Much of it may change in the future, especially because the expansion is so far away. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to show your support for these previews, guides, and first looks at your favorite game, visit Swtorista.com/support. And if you want to have similar videos, we've got more PTS previews coming up. Subscribe to this channel and they'll show up on your YouTube homepage. See you guys later. Bye.